Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today is a very special day because at the time of filming this, it's me birthday. And so Charming Amy and I are off to do what I love to do the most on my birthday, and that is the good old-fashioned dinner and a movie. This is something that I have enjoyed doing ever since I was a kid. Of course, dinner and a movie back then was more like, McDonald's and then off to see Empire Strikes Back or, something like that. That is what I've always done, and it's what I'll always continue doing probably till the day I say goodbye to this mortal realm. Alright guys, well anyway, so what movie am I off to see? Well, tonight I'm off to check out the film God is a Bullet. It is an action, horror, home invasion film directed by Nick Cassavetes, and I'm intrigued by this film because I know nothing about this movie, and Nick Cassavetes has done some good stuff in the past. I kind of think of Johnny Q with Denzel Washington, Alpha Dog with Justin Timberlake. He's done some pretty decent films, so I don't know why I don't really know anything about this movie, but hey, it looks interesting. So what do I know from the trailer on this? Well, like I said, it's a home invasion horror film, and of course it has that little old based on true events thing, which in my opinion, pretty much any movie that is a home invasion film is based off true events. But in this true events, apparently they're being invaded by people who are on their way to a Rob Zombie concert. But I digress. Anyways, these people break into their home, and it looks like the family or the folks in this home are fighting back, blah, blah, blah. The name of the movie is God is a Bullet, so I'm expecting some over-the-top, bloody, gore action in this film. So yes, that's what we're doing. So we are off here right after the old day job, and then I am off to check out the latest film, God is a Bullet. Welcome back, just getting home, and you know what guys, this movie wasn't terrible, but it wasn't necessarily good either. There's a lot of issues with this, but they're totally fixable, and there is a really good movie hidden in all of this stuff that I'm going to talk about. Okay, and one other thing too, the trailer didn't really give me the whole synopsis of this film, so anyways, I was right about the home invasion. There is a home invasion, but that is not the entire plot. The home invasion is to kidnap a girl, and then the father, a police officer, goes after the girl. So that's the whole thing. There is a home invasion, but that's not the whole story. There's this whole tracking down of the people and more of a revenge story, actually. So home invasion / revenge story. Okay, so moving into this, alright? So I'm going to get this started with the negatives and then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say about this film is it is way too long for the subject matter. This movie clocks in at just under 2 hours and 30 minutes. I think it was 2 hours and 26 minutes. And honestly, folks, there is a good hour of this film that needs to be cut out. It doesn't need to be there. I went into this film expecting a high-octane action action, bloody, violent film. And yes, there is action, and yes, there is very bloody, gory action in this film. But it's sparse and it's few and far between. Not necessarily what you get from the name of the film and the trailer. There is way too much dialogue in this movie. Way too much talking. It does not need to be there. And that leads me into my other negative. The acting in this movie in the greatest. Now, there are some people who do perfectly fine jobs, but on a whole, wow, they really were working on a budget. Now, that's not normally a bad thing, but man, it just stands out. You have some actors who are doing a good job. You have other actors that you could tell they just hired because they needed a bald, big guy with a beard. I mean, geez, don't give those guys lines. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, everybody needs big, bald guys with beards in their movies, but you don't always have to talk. They just can show up and be scary. That's also acceptable, but I digress. The film's acting is not the greatest. It is very bloated. It's got too much runtime, but there is stuff that can be worked on here. There's also some plot holes in the movie. There's some areas that just don't make sense. They just kind of like, I don't know. I can't go into it without giving any spoilers. But just believe me, the story is good. It just has a bad habit of just kind of like going off on these tangents. And also, the film tries to throw in some kind of philosophy in it also. But unfortunately, as I was saying with the acting, the cast doesn't really have the acting chops to really push the philosophy this film is trying to go for. But let's get into the good stuff, shall we? Now, I mentioned the action, and yes, the action in this film is actually really well done. And also, the effects, the practical kill effects are really good. I did see some moments of CGI, but on a whole, most of the kills in this film are done practically, and they look really good. If you are a fan of lots of bloody violence, well, this film definitely has it. But you're just gonna have to wait a while to get there. But yes, the makeup looks great. Well, I should take that back. The practical effects look great. The makeup... Okay, so I guess I'm going back to the negatives real quick. Alright, so one of the things with these guys, the home invaders, they are a cult, and they all have tattoos all over their body. And let me tell you, as someone who has tattoos, these are definitely airbrushed on. These are so airbrushed on, it's not even funny. I mean, wow, they pop. They don't look like natural tattoos. They really look painted on, or in some cases, they just look like a freaking sticker. Wow, I don't know if the person who did the makeup has tattoos or not. Maybe they don't, but good lord, I swear it just looks like they put a stencil on some folks. Just, hey, look, the devil. It's like, no, it's not. But yeah, the tattoos were not good. And also the little inconsistent, sometimes they would just kind of like vanish on characters. But okay, that's again, I'm beating up a low budget film. I shouldn't do that. Alright, so anyways, back to the positives. The story is good, and there is a nice little, I guess you could call it a little twist-a-rooney. It was the subplot that I was kind of like, on, but there is some good stuff there that can be developed into something a little bit better. I just feel like this movie has really great bones, but the body of it just, God, it just did not come together for me. It's not a terrible film, though. It honestly, I don't hate to put it this way, it just feels like a 90s direct-to-video movie. Like, I would be at Blockbuster and see this film sitting up on the shelf and say, this might be good. Why not? So that's the caliber of film here, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just needs to be streamlined. It just needs to be cut down a little bit, and then we have a pretty good freaking ultra-violent action film on our hands. Cut out the philosophy, just focus on the camp, and have a good time. That's what this film needed. But all in all, I did have a reasonably good time, but I don't really suggest this film for theaters. I think this is a movie that if you are curious, check it out on a streaming service. If something happens down the road where the film gets re-edited, re-released, maybe check that out. But as it stands right now, I highly suggest just checking this sucker out when it hits the streaming services, or it could already be there. I don't know. This, like I said, this film felt very VOD to me. So maybe you could find it. It's probably already on Vudu or something. I don't know. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for checking out The Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.